After she got kicked out of school, her dad fought back and did this. After receiving a surprising phone call, Tony Alarkan hurried over to his daughter's school. Moments after arriving, Tony walked into the front office, only to catch the school's principal screaming at his little girl. Seeing his daughter's face in tears was enough to throw Tony into a rage. He rolled up his sleeves and prepared for a fight. Tony's daughter, Demetra, had been sitting in class that morning listening to her teacher's lecture like usual. Suddenly, the room went quiet, prompting the students to look up from their notebooks. The class realized the instructor was staring right at Demetra, whose face immediately went red. "Demetra," said the teacher with a defiant tone. "Yes?" Demetra asked, confused and already embarrassed. She could hear her classmates whispering around her. Sadly, her instructor's response would end up bringing her to tears. "You are in violation of the school dress code," said Demetra's instructor, causing the entire classroom to gasp. Demetra was shocked as well, having nearly forgotten what she had on that day. She immediately looked down and examined her clothes. What dress code exactly was she violating? According to her instructor, Demetra's blue romper was far too short. So short, in fact, that her teachers insisted on stopping a lecture to bring attention to it. Plenty of Demetra's schoolmates were wearing similar outfits on that 90-degree morning. Why weren't they being signaled out? Demetra's father would soon find out. Demetra couldn't believe what was happening. She'd worn similar outfits many times and didn't think there was anything wrong with her clothing choice. In fact, neither did her father, who dropped Demetra off himself just that morning. What was this instructor's issue? As if being called out in class wasn't embarrassing enough, the teacher decided to send Demetra to the principal's office. Feeling a sudden sense of shame, Demetra stood up and walked out. By the time she arrived at the office, the principal was waiting there angrily. The teacher had already told the principal everything, leaving Demetra helpless. She attempted to defend herself, but the principal accused her of being disrespectful. The principal decided to give Demetra's father a call to explain the situation. Tony was at work when he received the school's phone call. When the principal mentioned Demetra's outfit, Tony was confused, thinking perhaps Demetra had changed into something scandalous after he dropped her off that morning. To Tony's surprise, the principal had given him an ultimatum. The principal told Tony one of two things was going to happen. Either Tony would pick up Demetra from school or someone would bring her a change of clothes. Tony agreed to bring her a new outfit, though he was already questioning the judgment behind the school's punishment. Tony left work and headed straight to the house to find Demetra a new outfit. He grabbed the first items he found on her dresser, which were a plain tank top and denim shorts. Surely these items were an appropriate choice for his daughter's comfort on that sweltering hot day. Tony left the house and headed to his daughter's school. When he arrived, he saw a familiar figure standing at the school gate. His daughter, Demetra, was right where he had dropped her off that morning, only this time she was in tears. Tony handed the new outfit to the crying Demetra, who bolted inside to change. Tony decided to have a chat with the principal. After parking, Tony headed into the front office where he spotted Demetra in her new outfit. Yet she was still in tears. Tony was shocked when he found out why. The principal didn't notice Tony when he walked into the office. She was in the middle of screaming at Demetra for choosing yet another inappropriate outfit. Tony, having picked out the outfit himself, was outraged. The principal was shocked when Tony made himself known. The principal insisted that Demetra's new outfit was also too short for the school's dress code. So Tony fired back. "I asked Demetra to bend over and touch her toes," Tony told Today. "Nothing is hanging out, nothing is inappropriate. I don't understand this dress code rule." The principal once again adjusted her reasoning. This time, the principal said the shorts didn't pass the fingertip test, which meant Demetra's fingers couldn't dare pass the length of the shorts. And yet, girls walking in the very halls next to them were wearing similar outfits, which Tony pointed out himself. That's when the principal let something slip. The principal called Demetra's outfit a distraction. Tony perked up and calmly asked the principal to repeat herself. Realizing her blunder, the principal did her best to rephrase. Tony asked who exactly was being distracted by Demetra's clothing. The principal's answer left Tony furious. The principal admitted Demetra's outfits were too distracting for the boys at school, which Tony found damaging. "We have to have dress codes that don't cause girls emotional issues, cause them to question their bodies or feel like they're sex symbols at 13 years old," said Tony. Because they're not, they're just kids. Demetra also stood up for herself, mentioning how the dress code rules were never enforced on boys, who, for example, wore baseball caps, which were banned, or inappropriate shirts. Still, the principal forced Demetra to wear a pair of leggings for the rest of the day. Tony decided the fight had just begun. Tony went to the media and threw the school into the spotlight. The father and daughter appeared on Today and local news stations with their complaints, forcing the school to put out a statement. The Los Gatos Union School District believes that appropriate dress and grooming contribute to a productive learning environment. Despite the school's efforts to push back, the principal had since held meetings to reevaluate dress code ethics with parental input. He considered cases outside the walls of his own school, too. He considered Melissa McKinley's daughter, who was taking a history quiz when there was a knock on the classroom door. All heads turned to the male administrator who walked in. They could tell he was looking for someone violating the dress code. When he found Melissa's daughter, he promptly informed her to gather her things. Confused, the teen did as she was told. It wasn't until she was sitting in a different classroom that she learned what was going on. The problem wasn't her grades or behavior, it was what she was wearing, more specifically, her jeans. They had a single rip in the knee, but the rip apparently turned more heads than Melissa's daughter could have imagined. See, by wearing those ripped jeans, she had broken a fundamental school rule, that no garments have any rip or tear. It wouldn't be crazy to assume that she was given a warning and sent back to class. But according to the male administrator, it was an offense punishable by a full day of in-school suspension. When her daughter asked her to bring pants to school, Melissa wouldn't budge. A rule is a rule, right? Not always. It wasn't until her daughter returned home and told Melissa the entire story that the mother knew something was wrong. The administrator had messed with the wrong mom, and she knew exactly where to voice her concerns. Melissa's first move was to post a mom rant on Facebook, and she didn't hold back. In an open letter addressed to her daughter's school district, Melissa made it clear how she felt about the incident once she heard the whole story. "I'm sorry, but excuse me?" she wrote. She explained what happened, including how her daughter was yanked out of class and thrown into an in-school suspension. But she emphasized how it wasn't necessarily the punishment that bothered her. As it turns out, Melissa's daughter wasn't just in trouble for breaking a school rule. The male administrator made this fact very clear when he told Melissa's daughter that her outfit was potentially harmful to male students. The administrator apparently told Melissa's daughter that her jeans were inconsiderate to the male students' raging hormones. When Melissa heard this detail, she knew that she had to speak up, and not just for her daughter's sake. Perhaps she should have worn a different pair of jeans, she wrote, of her daughter breaking the dress code. But why should she have to worry about dressing a certain way to curtail a boy's potential behavior? The implication that her daughter was to blame if a boy couldn't keep his hands to himself inspired her to share the story. So it's her fault if the boy touches her because of what she's wearing? Melissa asked. Melissa went on to call the incident out as sexism, victim blaming, and girl shaming, and question the double standard of it all. Did the administrator pull the boys out who were wearing shorts? "They have two knees showing," she wrote. In this kind of situation, the school board would normally handle the matter privately and move on from the incident. But the case of Melissa McKinley and her daughter's ripped jeans was different. See, Melissa isn't your average suburban mom. When the male administrator pulled Melissa's daughter out of class that day, there's a chance he didn't know she was the mayor's daughter, and as the mayor of Palm Beach, Melissa McKinley wasn't going to rest until justice was served. The school's principal, Mary Stratos, said that torn clothing of any kind was prohibited, and emphasized this by saying, "We don't need to be the tatter police." Maybe not, but according to Melissa, a certain change in approach is necessary. She shared a photo of her daughter's jeans alongside the question, "Did seeing this affect your ability to concentrate?" She also made sure to emphasize the ridiculousness of a bare knee being a source of distraction for boys in the class. "I'd like to think her intelligence and quick wit, beautiful smile, and wicked sense of humor might be distracting," Melissa concluded in her Facebook post. Apparently, many of her Facebook friends agreed with her. "If the rip in the jeans caused boys' hormones to react, things are much worse than we thought," one friend wrote, while another commented that the whole situation was ridiculous. But before signing off, Melissa had one more point to make. A boy's inability to control his hormones warrants my daughter's inability to attend her classes? Melissa questioned. We're just curious how Melissa's daughter feels about all this. After all, we don't think any student will show up to class in layers anytime soon.